Documents show it was the largest chlorine leak at the Olin chemical plant in McIntosh since 2010. And yet community members say they didn't get any answers about it until we started digging.
That's right. And our investigative reporter Katie Weiss is in the studio now with part 2 of our special report, Toxic Release.
Well, Bob, Lenise, the first time I went to McIntosh to start investigating last month's chlorine leak, I was met by dozens of community members who were waiting to tell me about their concerns, hoping I could find some answers about a chlorine gas leak that happened at the Olin chemical plant on February 15th. Once I started digging, the company started opening up about how they'll make amends. But will Olin really stay true to their word? Many residents aren't so convinced.
Providing that the wind has been coming out of the north, the chlorine would have killed us.
They wanted answers. Their community had allegedly been exposed to a cloud of toxic chlorine gas.
It's scary. They didn't tell us how much got out into the air. They didn't tell us how the leak was caused.
So they turned to Fox 10 News Investigates for help. I uncovered documents from Olin that show 738 pounds of chlorine gas was leaked that night, and the leak was caused by a lack of attention to detail by employees at the plant.
There's chlorine gas at the boat landing.
I also obtained 911 calls that show police were sent directly into the line of danger. Need some responses about what happened. After I started asking questions, residents finally got a chance to meet with Olin last week about the toxic release.
I think the meeting came forth as an effort of the news media being involved, specifically Channel 10 News, because y'all have done wonderful in reference to investigating and coming out and interviewing the community.
McIntosh resident Lucille Kimball Foster went to the meeting with Olin.
We went into ways that they could assist the community in reference to protecting the residents, but we didn't get an actual answer as to if they were going to do it or not.
I found the Olin facility in McIntosh has a track record. In 2014, the EPA fined the facility $1,200 for not having proper procedures to prevent a chemical accident. In 2015, court records show an employee sued the company for being wrongfully exposed to chlorine gas. He ultimately got a settlement of $75,000. Last summer, OSHA fined the facility $9,900 for exposing contractors to a 5-pound chlorine gas cloud release. The OSHA report says when the chlorine leaked, Olin, quote, did not activate the alarm system in place that provided warning necessary for reaction time for safe escape. In total, state and federal records show there have been at least 9 chlorine leaks at the plant since 2010. And the February 15th leak was the largest. It's been more than a month since the massive chlorine leak, and you'll notice these pine trees here in McIntosh are green. But take a walk to the area where Olin told 911 the cloud of chlorine gas was headed, and you'll notice these pine trees are still brown. McIntosh Police Chief Mike Reddy tells me seeing this effect really worries him.
It's a concern to us after seeing what is done to the environment, that what this could be doing to anybody's lungs are very close by.
But the public agency investigating the incident, the Alabama Department of Environmental Management, or ADEM, doesn't appear to be concerned. ADEM's documents show an inspector conducted a 2-hour drive-by of the area and, quote, did not see any damage to trees between the plant property and the river. That report, available online, was accompanied by photos in black and white.
I was appalled at the fact that they said nothing was wrong with the trees. They didn't see any problems with the trees. The trees wasn't affected, and it's clearly still there, even a month later.
Neighbors fear the combination of Olin's past and a lack of strict enforcement from ADEM will end up subjecting them to more hazards in the future.
I think they should do a more in-depth investigation, because if you just look over it and you just give Olin a pat on the hand, it's going to lead for Olin to say, hey, we can do this again. We don't have to make changes to our protocol. We don't have to make changes to our emergency response plans or anything of that nature. So I do think it needs to be investigated further by ADEM.
Now, I've reached out to ADEM for a comment about the drive-by inspection. ADEM sent me a written statement yesterday writing, quote, since February 15th, 2017, the date of the release, ADEM continues to review all information associated with the release to determine an appropriate course of action. Now, I've also requested an interview with Olin officials several times, but still have not been granted that opportunity. Instead, Olin has released a written statement explaining the EPA fines incurred back in 2014. A PR person for the company says, quote, the $1,200 EPA fine in 2014 was due to inadequate retention of operations procedures documentation. The fine was not related to actual procedures. However, the EPA says Olin, quote, did not provide evidence that operating procedures were current and accurate and that procedures have been reviewed as often as necessary. Now, Olin also wrote to us that the company, quote, is strongly committed to excellence in protecting the health and safety of our employees and those who live and work around our plants. And in a separate statement, the company apologized, quote, we are sorry for the concerns this incident has caused. But some community members called me today and said they're not satisfied with that written apology. They say they want to see a public apology on camera from the facility. I'll let you know if and when Olin accepts our request for an interview.